leaders, or maybe even people in general, for some reason, we have the habit of waiting for things to get really bad before we realize we need to change. You wait till you're obese or you have a heart condition before you start eating healthy. The organization waits for something bad to happen before they start to innovate and think of new products and services. Why do you think we have such a hard time of adapting and evolving when things are going well, as opposed to always having to wait when things are not going well before we force change to happen?
It relates to this whole idea of risk. And, this is, to my mind, one of the central ideas we need to understand, which is nobody wants to take the risk when you don't have to, right? Nobody wants to fix the roof when it's shining, when the sun is shining. You only do things when you are pressed against the wall. I remember seeing a very good study in the World Bank on when do nations do serious structural economic reform, and the answer was when they're going through economic collapse. The only time that people are willing to actually do fundamental economic reform is when their back is against the wall, when they have no other option. It's often the worst time to do it, by the way. It's much better to fix the roof when the sun is shining. But it's very hard to do, and it takes real leadership. It takes because people are asking you, why are you doing this? You're incurring all these costs for no reason, and people are resistant to that. I remember asking Mike Bloomberg what he was most, I think I did the last interview with Bloomberg before he left the mayorship in New York. And I asked him what he was proudest of. And he said something which I was so surprised by. He said, for building the second water tunnel for New York. This was a big project where you had to build I think it was billions of dollars, a water tunnel. I said, why? He said, because the current one we have is not going to last forever. It is going to wear out. It is going to then trigger an emergency crisis. But it takes years to build a new one. So nobody asked me to do this. I got no benefit from it. Nobody even knows I've done it. But I found a way to get the $5 billion that it took. I committed myself. I therefore did not use it, to boost people's pay, to do all the things that were giving me cheap applause at the moment. I decided to do this thing because I knew that it was the most important thing I could do to make sure that New York did not face a water crisis when the first tunnel crumbles. And I think we should all be thinking about what are the things that we think are really important and that we would be proud of having left behind a legacy of. Part of this relates to we've become too outwardly focused in terms of our how we judge people, yardsticks, things like that. People should retain, it's always going to be a mix, but people should retain some strong element of asking yourself, how do I want to live a good life? Right? What would make me a good CEO? What would make me a good leader? And to try to do, a few things that are the right thing to do, regardless of whether you're going to get short-term applause for it, regardless of whether you're going to get short-term credit for it. And that, I think, is it's a very important lesson to learn.